Okay. So this week with our team, we talked about having, we just finished week 20, we finished week 24 last week, which the reason that's important is there's 48 sales weeks in a year, right? So there's 52 real weeks, but 48 sales weeks. So that means we're halfway through the year. So congratulations, you made it this far. Also, congratulations, you still have another half to go. So this morning, let's start with any shout outs, any gratitude, any Brivity wins, any kind of wins in general. And while you're thinking about that and you're finding the little reaction button to raise your hand, I want to shout out a couple of people that I know. Daniel Weiser on our team, he didn't have a baby, but his baby mama, Miss Chelsea, had baby number 2. This is the second baby that they've had since they've been on the team. They are very productive. Also in sales, but definitely in babies, which is super awesome. Cutest little boys. So congratulations, Daniel. We are definitely the place to be for also growing your family, not just your business. So definitely excited about that. Congrats, Daniel and Chelsea. And I want to give a shout out to one more person that I thought of this morning while you guys are still figuring out what your shout outs are. Don't be shy, put that hand up. We have this agent on our team. I'm not even sure if he's on the call this morning, but his name is Jose. And Jose has been with us, gosh, I don't think it's been a year. I know it's not been a year. I think maybe August or something like that. Don't quote me on that, anybody, but he has 12 closed and pending. And he has another commitment that he had kind of pre this whole thing that takes about 40 hours of his week. And he still has 12 closed and pending. His closed and pendings are coming from his Sphere, from Brivity leads, and from Mojo, like just dialing. So I wanted to shout him out because like that's a lot. It's a lot of commitment to put 40 hours into another commitment you already had, and then another 40 hours to your real estate business. But it can be done, and super proud of him showing us what can be done. So love that. Bart Cook, yes, sir.
I will give gratitude to Jordan on our team. We had our annual retreat. It was so much fun.
Oh my
Houses,
God,
it's kids, yes. It's everybody staying on this big ranch. It is chaotic. It is an absolute blast. So we are very, very thankful that we got the opportunity to do that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So how many days was it, Bart? A couple days?
It was Monday through Thursday.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You're giving everybody FOMO on the call. I love that. I love that. Definitely. That is worthy of a shout out. Speaking of Jordan Davis, good morning.
Good morning. I want to shout out a couple of our agents. One is Lori, who comes from teaching and has just gotten in and gotten after it, and she's doing awesome. And secondly, I want to shout out Brenda, who is a seasoned agent on our team. She'll be celebrating 5 years coming up in the spring, and she kind of let the last market kind of stun her with multiple offers and everything that came with that. And she just decided 2 weeks ago, like, I'm getting after it. I'm turning this ship around. And she did. Last week, she took 2 listings, and I think she signed 2 or 3 buyers. So she got after it.
Oh, I love that. Once you make the decision, boom, right?
Providence moves.
Providence moves. I love that. I love that. Great job, y'all. Speaking of when things change, right? And boy, have things changed in our markets, right? Valencia, what's going on in your world?
Oh, I just want to give a huge shout out to another agent on our team. Rachel completed her 1,000 dial days. It's her first time ever doing it. And she was a little exhausted, but she did and had a butt ton of nurtures and a huge amount of follow-ups and connects. And she did really great getting through it.
Oh man. I mean, who's ever felt exhausted over 1,000 dial day? Yes, everybody. I see you. Right on. I love that. Way to get the business started, right? Man, I wish they would have taught me that back in 2005. I would have saved myself years and years and years of fear of rejection and all sorts of crazy fears that I had. It took me a long time to get there. All right, awesome. All right, so things are changing. Anybody's market feeling shifted? Just us? Oh, there's some people. Okay, good. So it's been a while since we have featured our highest producers, and we're going to explore the topic of a shifting market and how our very top agents are adjusting to it. We had, I have to shout out our top agents. We had so many people like raise their hand to want to share with you guys. It was super amazing. Like I like cut it off at 7 people just because like, you know, you guys don't want to be here all morning. However, I just want to tell you how valuable it is to be part of this community, part of this environment. We were talking with the team this week. You know, there's 3 different kinds of businesses out there, right? You have go with me on this analogy. You have a cruise ship, you have a sailboat, and you have a canoe, right? All of these are businesses, and they're real businesses, right? Or they have been, at least prior to the shift. Cruise ships are big and pretty, right? And got great branding, all bells and whistles, but gosh, they are hard to turn around in a shift. In fact, oftentimes, because they're so big, their technology and their messaging and all of it becomes kind of irrelevant when things start to change. And then you've got people in canoes, right? It was totally fine to be in your own little canoe when everything was great, when the market was awesome for everybody. But guess what? The second those waves start coming in, it is so hard to get your momentum going and keep it going, keep it from drowning, right? And then you've got like the sailboats, right? They are made to go across an ocean, right? They are nimble, they are quick, right? And the cool thing is, we're not just a sailboat, we belong to a fleet of sailboats. So every time you're on a place training, anytime you could go to any of our power-ups and it'd be the market of the moment. And that is super, super powerful. So shout out to our top agents who already volunteered. We'll get more next month just to keep up with everything that's going on and how each of our people are adjusting. So I'm gonna look for our people this morning, our panelists. And while I spotlight them, they'll come up on a panel for us. I want to tell you the 3 questions because I want you to write them down. There's only 3 questions this morning that I'm asking everybody. And so what I would do is I would take out my piece of paper, I'd take my notes, I'd write the first question and then kind of write everybody's answers. And then your job is, what is it that I want to implement? Like what spoke to me? What can I update? Because all we need to do is just adjust these dials, right? When an airplane gets turbulent, they're not like, oh, I'm gonna land this thing, forget it. No, like we're not gonna quit our job because the market changed. We're just gonna adjust. So this morning, question number 1 for you to write down, it's pertaining to sellers. What are you saying? How are you explaining the shifting market to your sellers to ensure success? So sellers based. All right. The next one will be exactly the same. It'll be, what are you doing and saying to your buyers? To ensure success. All right. And then the last one is, what advice would you give me right now? What advice would you give me right now? And I'm spotlighting, and I will give everybody 1 second. Let's see. I got a lot of people to spotlight, so give me a second. We're doing great here. Doing really amazing. Let's see here. I got another one right there. I'm almost done. I know you guys are finding your pens and papers and you don't mind at all, probably. Or not, maybe you do mind. All right. I think I've got everybody almost. Okay, does that look like everybody? I hope so. And then everyone else, I'm gonna have you in July. I'm super excited. Okay, so we should have everyone. So let's just go with the first question all across the board. Yeah, does that sound good? Then that way, like, we're not all waiting forever, never. Who would like to go first on what are you saying? How are you explaining the shifting market to your sellers to ensure success? And what I'm looking for is, give us any nuggets that you're using, any scripts, any dialogues, any tactics, just anything that perhaps we haven't thought of, or even if we have, how are you delivering that, I guess? Who would like to go first? Oh, there you go, Bart. Boom, let's go.
I'll set the bar low. Everybody can come in and shine after this. Not a lot. I got into business in 2008 and I got told really, really early on in that crummy market to over communicate with sellers. You can't communicate enough. I got told early on that silence is not golden. Silence is deadly. Don't just leave them up to their imagination to figure out what's going on. So I am pretty much going with that mentality again of over communicating where I can't communicate enough to tell them what's going on, what's happening, when it's happening. When it comes to numbers, I am not numbers based. So unless I know they are, I don't come with exact numbers, but I do talk to them about, hey, we are now seeing about 25% more homes on the market than we were almost overnight. This is why this affects you. So I do vaguely get into numbers. I don't get into the exact numbers unless I know that's their personality. And then I will do a little more research ahead of time. But those are the main things I'm doing. We are just going over facts. We are going over numbers. I'm making sure they understand they are going to hear from me a lot, and they are going to hear from me a lot, typically over text. I'm not making that many phone calls unless I know they really, really want me to call, and then I will. But for the most part, that's it. They get it. Most people have a fairly good understanding of economics of supply and demand. So as long as they understand why it's happening, they're usually okay with it. And then we always stay really, really deep into motivation. Why are they selling? Selling sucks. Are we selling for a good reason? Are we selling for a bad reason? Why are we selling? And I want to make sure I always come back to motivation if they do start getting frustrated.
Love that. Love that. I love the silence is deadly. Ooh, that's good. Good one-liner. Who's next? Who would like to go? Daniel, yes, sir. Let's go.
Yeah, so some of my favorite things dealing with sellers during the shifted market is, first of all, I just coming right out, trying to win their business, talking about how, over the last 2 years, historically, you will cash out on the most equity ever, right? And so really showing them, like, even though the market's slowing down, you're gonna make so much money off this property. So let's go ahead and move forward. And then I set the expectation that, honestly, I just try to take out of them this idea that their house is gonna sell over the weekend. I let them know, like, your house is not gonna sell over the weekend. If it does, awesome, but set the expectation up front that it may take a few days, and just setting the expectation of the market that is like normal. Being on market for 12 days, like, that's not a threat to the sale of your home. And it may seem like a threat to the sale of your home, but at the end of the day, it's not. And then I say, after 12 days, if for some reason we don't have any offers, I will run an entire market analysis and see if there's been any changes in the market, and we'll go from there. So we kind of have a ABC plan, so they're not kind of left what's happening. And then just communicating. I communicate, any interest, any showings. I'm back and forth texting them so they can see how much people are and how much traffic is going through their house. But I'm really adamant about being like, this whole weekend, right, multiple offers situation, just trying to take that out of them, just because that I've had it in the past where that was the hidden expectation based on what some areas are doing. But at the end of the day, it's awesome that that happens, but it's close to none now. But.
Right on, right on. Okay, so I love that. Like, really switching around. The last 2 years have provided you an opportunity to cash out on the most equity ever. And that's the truth. That's the truth. I like that very much. Awesome. Who else?
I'll go. So I'm sort of like Bart, where it's like I'm starting year 7 in my career. And even though I didn't start in 2008, even like late 2020 was sort of like this, 2016 was sort of like this. So I had this conversation actually just the other day with some sellers where I have to be like, all right, guys, my motivation is going to match your motivation. How motivated are you to get your home sold? And then when we talk about that motivation, we're like, okay, so then now on a spectrum, where on one side we have convenience, on the other side we have highest net price to you, where do you guys fall? And when I asked that question, they're like, well, we really do want to sell for this price, but for this particular client, they're like, but we really just don't want to be in this neighborhood before, so we'll do what we got to do to sell. I'm like, great, that's what I want to hear. But being that you guys want to try and net the most money, here's what we got to do. We're going to declutter, blah, blah, blah. So we're going back to the days of actually having to do our job as a listing agent, of really advise them on staging. Like, you got to get rid of all the clutter. Go ahead and order that pod. Go ahead and, live, or, eat off paper plates if you don't want dishes in the dish, in the sink, like all the stuff we used to have to do, to make sure your house is spotless. Allow the most showings possible. Let us do open houses as much as possible. So, but you have to see where they are. If they say, no, I really just want the convenience, I'm like, great, let's drop the price. Easy peasy. If you just want convenience, it's all about price. So, just having those conversations again, it's nothing too new. We're just having to do them like we
Right,
used to.
we're just adjusting the dial,
Yeah.
and now it's pre-2020.
Yeah. And telling them that too, it's like, hey guys, no big deal. We went through this literally 18 months ago. This is normal. What we were going through before was not normal.
I like that spectrum conversation, convenience and highest net. Really, really good. And you bring up a good point on advising on make ready, to like get the house ready, right? In a previous market, like the one from like 3 months ago, maybe, like if we were paying sometimes as agents or as teams for all these little extras, right? And it's sold in one day, and then you had a closing like 25 days later, like, that sounds really good. But I mean, you can't, like, no team, no agent can afford to pay for a pod for 2 months while they're getting it ready, for another 45 days while it takes to sell, and then another 30 days for it to close. Like, we got to get creative around, like, it's their equity. It's not our equity, and it's their.
I'm not paying for anything.
Right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yeah. They were the ones that
a little
said,
bit hairy.
yeah,
Yes.
they were the ones that said, we want the most money, we will get a pod to do this. So that would be a great idea for y'all to price them out, have a gift, like a discount code or something with your storage company, whatever.
I love that. I love that. Cool. Who's next? Who's got something that they want to share on sellers that they're doing?
I'll go next.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Morning. I agree with Bart for sure about motivation, communication. I think the hardest challenge right now, especially in the start of this shift, is the mindset of sellers. Sellers are seeing their neighbors who just closed even at the beginning of this month, and they closed at top dollar, maybe over asking, with multiple offers. And I have to remind some of them, like, well, do you know when they got on the market? It was right before this shift. It was like middle April to late April, and now they're closing 6 weeks later. So they didn't have to feel that. Now you're feeling it as a seller. And so it's not apples to apples. So even in our comps, like, I'm not looking anywhere past 30 days because they're just not accurate. And even the ones that are still, you still have to kind of have that conversation, that tough conversation with the sellers as to, hey, this is not really the reality of where we are right now. And so I think that's a hard conversation. I think we also have to do a good job of communicating the fact that we are doing our job, that we're not just like 6 months ago where we got a listing. It's like, oh, I got a paycheck in 30 days. We're really having to reverse prospect. We're really having to do our open houses. Like, our team does a whole bunch of open houses. And as long as they see that and we communicate with them and they see that we're doing our job, I think that even if they have to drop price, like I've had to do several times in just the last few weeks, they're gonna hang in there. They're gonna work with us.
I love that. Like, really, like, doing a good job in this market of communicating your value, communicating what you're doing. Like, back to that, people say what you're going to do it, then tell them you did it. Right. And reverse prospecting, like, oh my God, it's been a while since we've done some of that. Right on, Brian. Right on. Love it. Allie or Kayla?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry. I mean, basically, right along the line of what Brian was saying with we always do open houses. And so if you are going to do an open house, what I've found is that going above and beyond to make it awesome. We did tacos at my last open house, and we had a piñata and we had the balloons outside, and sounds really silly, but that extra effort is something that they can see on their door cam, ring doorbell to me coming in and out. And I feel like, obviously our intention is to sell their home and to do the best job that we can. And our actions have to actually meet that those words now versus before. And I don't know a market a whole lot different than this, but I do know hard work. And I think that most of you guys all know that too. And so I think just making sure your actions connect with the things that you're saying. The other thing is I was on a place training call on, I can't remember the day, my days are running together, but I believe Kelly was leading it, and she was talking about how you should no longer use the word comps, you should use the word market data. And so what I've been able to do, I have a listing right now that I was really hoping would sell quickly, just like all of them, but it hasn't. And so instead of just saying, well, you know, it is what it is, there are other homes that are in the exact same situation as my sellers. So to show them, look, they've been sitting here this long too. I just take a screenshot of everything that's still active on the market, that's in their neighborhood. I even send a little map of it. That's been really helpful, because it's not just me saying, hey, this is the market, it is what it is, but to text them just a little screenshot every few days to show, hey, these houses are still sitting here as well. It's okay. We're going to be okay. We just have to stick this out.
I love that. I love that. Going back to your open houses, you know what? Whenever I watch yours on Instagram, because I follow Allie, one of the things that I like is not only is she doing that open house for her seller, but me as a potential buyer seller, I can see the effort that she's putting into something. So every time I see her going above and beyond, it just tacks up like another like check next to her name psychologically in my brain. So everything we do matters, right? The way we do things really matters in a market like this.
Yes.
Love that. Stop saying comps, say market data. Like that. That's good. Good. Brian or Kayla?
I'll go. I love everything that everybody said. Basically here in Midland, the market was never as crazy as y'all's was in Austin and in San Antonio and in Dallas. But we were having homes fly off, you know, the changes just like you guys were, but we weren't having the multiple offers. We weren't having $30,000 to $40,000 over asking. So now with the shift, I think that it is extremely important to over communicate with our sellers, especially with interest rates rising. Buyers are having less buying power. So with that being said, we have to adjust our prices a little bit with the buyers, you know, because some buyers that were able to purchase $350,000 home now can only purchase a $280,000 home. So along with interest rates rising, I think that it's important for us to communicate with our sellers and just educate them on exactly what's going on, so that they don't get upset when you talk to them about the price drop. So that's kind of what's been going on this time at this, right at this particular time right now, is talking to my sellers and just letting them know, hey, this is what's going on. Our homes are going to stay on the market a little bit longer. I love the call that we had with Chris on last Friday, that basically gave us so much information on what's going on that now we actually we've always should be consulting and educating our buyers and sellers, but now more than ever, we have those concrete numbers that prove and show exactly the buying power and exactly what's going on. So I think just over communicating, going back to that motivation, and then also letting them realize, that what's going on and being able to bring those buyers.
I love what you said on the fact that our Friday all partner calls, right? We're all in the same, same market, same sailboat. And Chris gets on and he basically gives us the scripts of how to consult our clients right now. I mean, and it is in real time. Y'all, the last shift was such a shit show because nobody was doing that. Technology has allowed us to be able to do all this in real time at such a scale. That's really awesome. So if you're missing that call, and I know some of us, have different things going on, but it's a good one to roll back to and listen to. Chris is a master of these kind of markets. I wouldn't be doing this on my own. I wouldn't make up my own stuff. Whatever he says, I'd probably just regurgitate it. Put your spin on it, but gosh, don't use the brain power for that. Use your brain power for something else, right? Right on, Kayla. Love it. Love it. Brian Miller.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I pretty much what everybody said, honestly. I mean, I like what Daniel said about the setting expectations. That's a big, big thing. And what Alex said about data, because I just went through this with a buddy of mine. He wants 650 for his house. I look at everything and his record breaking price would be 570. And, you know, he wants to tell me that his buddy in the Woodlands got this, you know, and he's hearing about people, you know, getting 70 grand over their asking price, which was true in his neighborhood. But I'd sit there and look and say, hey, this is your neighborhood. You got 200 houses here. It's not going to sell for the same price per square foot as something half a mile away. And you're talking to people 47 miles away and actually also a buddy in New Jersey. So it actually in the neighborhood, there had been a house that sold for 70 grand over ask, but their asking price was so low that his asking price was like another 30 grand above that. So managed to talk him down. And this was actually the first time I've ever sold a house below the asking price, but still got a record breaking price. And just setting that expectation it's tough, because having the conversation, it's like, you know, okay, I'll take 625. And then you talk to the wife, okay, we'll take 615. And then an offer comes in at 580. It's like, y'all need to jump on this. This is gold. This is the best you're going to do. This is a record breaking price. We're still breaking records, but we're not getting 30, 40, 50 grand over anymore. We're getting 5, 10, 15 grand over. It's still.
So my offer from you is, you guys hear that confidence? Like, he's not shy. 580 is the best you guys can do. That is still breaking every record in this neighborhood. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, in case y'all didn't know, nothing about me actually says professional. I just kind of say it how it is.
No. We're not even going there. You absolutely are professional. You have your own spin on things. And you know what? They're like, each of us have a different spin, right? I love that.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. All right. So number one, if you're not confident, like, man, in this market, people will smell that. Would you guys agree? Like, there, you got to have some confidence attached to it. Okay, awesome. Switch gears, buyer side. Ooh, what are we doing there? How are we going to win, or how are you starting to win?
Hello, Adelina.
Yeah, go for it. Ready.
So back to what I was talking about, basically, this whole week during our power up, we've kind of dissected exactly what Chris was talking about. So going over the buyer consultation and actually gaining that confidence and knowing exactly what's going on in the market, being informed, that only builds our confidence. And like I said before, now consulting with our buyers and educating them and letting them know what's going on. What does it do to you if you wait? I mean, just that little chart that Chris showed us, I mean, going from 2.75% interest rate and your mortgage is at 1633, and you go to a 3.25 interest rate, you have an automatic $108 increase in your monthly payment. So what we've been talking about is basically during our consultation, we always, we talk about the mortgage calculator, and instead of just talking about it, we're actually having our clients now download it at our consultation. So based on that, whenever they're like, oh, we're going to wait 6 months, to a year. Hey, do me a favor, pull out that mortgage calculator real quick. Let's just do a couple scenarios right now. What is it going to cost you to wait? Because right now we have interest rates going up. We started at 2.75 in the beginning of the year. Now we're at 6.50. Let's do that, run that scenario. And they see the increase. So not only are we informing them, but they're interacting with us. So I think it's a huge thing for us to have our buyers interact with us so that they can actually see and understand, especially new homeowners, new buyers. The buying process is a big deal. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. For us that we've done it so many times, it gets easier and easier because it's so repetitive to us. But for somebody that's purchasing a brand new home and they don't know all the steps, this could be very overwhelming. So having them be interactive and actually showing them and seeing the numbers, I think that's what's helping us bring in more buyers to going ahead and jumping the gun right now and not waiting.
I love, there's two things that stood out to me Number one, comparing and contrasting, right? At the beginning of the year, here's where we started with interest rates, here's where they are now. What do you think is going to happen next, right? Like it's usually we're not able to do that. There's not a big gap between beginning of a year to like where we are today. And then the other thing that you said, you're really using our tools. Like you're using that buyer consult, you're using the mortgage calculator. There's not a lot that can be said around that because you either use it or you don't. Like they're tools for a reason. Like you can go like try to like, I could take my phone and try to drive a nail through wood, or I could take a hammer. I mean, it's your choice how hard you want to make your life, right?
Exactly.
Love it. You're awesome. Who's up next?
I'll go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I try to paint the picture of the market as like an awesome opportunity for my buyers, right? Because people are just so freaked out. And so I kind of take the angle, I'm like, here's the thing. Interest rates are rising, which the great thing about that, it's pushing a lot of people out of the market, which is creating more opportunity for you. At the end of the day, we're not at a historical high, right? And we want to get you locked in so we don't get any higher. But the nice thing is there is a lot more inventory on the market because a lot of buyers are getting nervous, which creates more opportunity for you. So I say, let's take this opportunity now before you actually are priced out of the market. And then also communication. One thing like I wanted to say with my sellers, what I do with my sellers is if you're not communicating what you're doing, what's happening with the market and what people are saying, like suddenly you become the reason why you become the problem. Like they automatically think it is because of you. I have a poor agent that I haven't either sold or bought. And so I've had to learn, like, even if just try to find some type of communication to keep that ball rolling, and suddenly you become the hero eventually when you close on a house with them. But as soon as you start that community, especially for new people, like if you're not talking to them continuously, like treat them like a hot lead until you get them to the close table, you will honestly be the reason, you will be betrayed as a poor agent. It's just wild how that works. Stay like front of face, and suddenly you become the hero.
Oh, I love that. What I would write down if I was sitting in the audience right now would be, there's two things that are going to happen in this market. Communication will either make you the enemy or it'll make you the hero. Like there's no middle ground with this. People will either love you because you helped them, right? They may not get the exact result they were looking for, but you helped them and there's gratitude around that. Or they perceive that you're the reason why they didn't get that result. All right, love it, love it, love it. Way to go. Who's next? Buyer side. Elizabeth, yes.
So just as it's important to know like numbers and everything with sellers, it's also important to know that with buyers, and also figure out what exactly their fears are. So it's like, okay, what about this market is a concern to you? If it's, I can't afford it, like just, mortgage is too high now. It's like, okay, well, let's see what houses you can afford. We need to change price, condition, location. Again, same conversation we've been having before. And on the other side, it's like, oh, the market's, it's unstable. I was like, then know the market in your area. So for example, for Dallas, I can tell them, actually, did you know that in the last 22 years, there's only been 2 years where the appreciation was less than, was negative. And that was 2008 and 2009. And then the very next year, it went up 11%. So actually, there's never been a bad time to buy in Dallas. And we just signed, the Dallas-Fort Worth area has the most 20-year commercial leases that it's ever had before that have just been signed. That's something from my showing partner, Jesus, that found out that nugget. So that means that jobs are strong, jobs are coming. There's no indication that the market is going to do anything but go up. So again, like, what is your fear? And try to assuage those fears, because it really is a good time to buy. Still, like I would buy a house right now if I could, because it's still a good time to buy. And then just like little nuggets that, you've been hearing around the internet work really great. Like, did you know your interest rate on your rent is 100%? So what's the issue with having, a 6 to 7% interest rate? Jesus, also my showing partner, I don't know where he is on the screen, but he also had a great line of, you can always refinance your rate. You will never buy a cheaper house. Like prices will always go up. So there's just those things like that, but you got to figure out what it is that's causing them strife. And then the last thing, which I use like in extremes, when you have like those really stubborn people, I'm a high D. So if I have another high D, this is what works really well for them, is be like, great, if you want a house of this price, I can introduce you to my friend Destiny in South Dakota, or my friend Joseph in Birmingham, Alabama, or, that's where those houses exist. Would you like that introduction? And so just like be real, which they're not going to get that house unless they move somewhere else. Doesn't work with people that are like S's and C's. They'll start crying.
Yeah, know your audience.
But that works really well too. But yeah, know who you're talking to, but also just, find ways to communicate the truth to people in ways they can understand it. Cause it's still a great time it's never going to be a bad time, right? To stop being a renter.
Oh man, it's never a bad time to stop being a renter. I love that. Let's see what houses you can afford. Know your nuggets, know your numbers. Interest rate on rent is still 100%, and you can always refi your rate, but you can't buy a cheaper house. Love it, love it. Who's next? What else is happening?
I'll go.
Yeah, Brian.
I think we're looking at 3 different types of buyers right now. You got the cash investor type guys who are not going to pull a trigger on anything right now. They're looking at something in a little bit down the road because, with every 1% increase in rates, they're predicting that 3% value of that home is going to go down. So right now we're sitting probably around 9 or 10%. Hasn't shown up yet, but by the end of the year, I think it will. So I think you have those guys that are sitting on the sidelines. So I'm trying not to waste too much time with them. I'll flip them if, like, I just went on a listing appointment last night. It's a flip. It's a cosmetic flip. It's probably pretty easy. So I'll reach out to them. They might do something like that. But as far as a rental income, I don't think they're going to go for that. What I'm telling buyers and then you have another set of buyers that are the first time home buyers who have just gotten priced out. Some of them. I've had like 3 or 4 clients that just literally could not afford a 3% increase. I mean, you're talking, $400, $500, $600 more a month. And so they had to rent. And so I'll keep up with them. But then you have the ones that are just like the ones that are the most annoying to me are the ones with the sticker shock. So they're the ones that like, oh, I had 2.75 back in this day or whatever. Okay, great. That's not here anymore. So what are you going to do now? Are you still going to rent? Are you going to throw your money away, or are you going to, invest in something in your future that you're going to hold on to for a while and still make some money? And I think the fear of missing out on these people is what really can drive them to purchase a new home. All you have to do is look back at a 50-year interest rate chart. If anybody's looked at that, you see in the 80s, it was in 17, 18% interest. So 6 or 7% right now doesn't look like anything. And then you scare them with the term inflation, because that's what's all over the news, right? Well, inflation has never been highest since the 80s. So what do you see happening potentially? You just ask them that question. And so, like, are you worried about that 6% right now? Or do you want to go ahead and get into something and secure that? Always refi if you need to, in a year or 2 or 3, whatever it may take. Or instead of, like, I forget who's mentioning it, with the multiple offers and people getting driven out because they're paying 10, 20, 30,000 over. We don't see that anymore. So now those same buyers could buy down their rate. You offer them that. There's different loans that you can do. There's a lot of different tools that we can use that we haven't had to. And I think just being a good resource to our buyers and giving them those options and scaring them a little bit, I think would definitely help.
Oh man, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. Hold on, you just like opened up my mind. Yeah, our buyers used to go 10, 50, 100,000 over, and then they felt great about it. They actually won the house. They got it. They beat everybody. They could take that exact money that they would have gone over, and they could just buy down the rate with it. Get your
rate is so important to them, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Duh. Okay, great. Love that. And you use the word invest instead of let's buy a home, let's get you into a home, let's invest in a home, right? Because people pay, and you guys pay interest on stuff, right? Like you pay interest on your car payment, you pay interest on your credit cards. I haven't heard anybody complain about that. Like it hasn't come up on any of these calls, right? Like you may not like it, but you pay interest rate, like, and it's higher most of the time than the 6%, right? So if we're gonna pay interest, pay it on something that you invested in. Great stuff. All right. Who's next?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, just all those buyers that we had, a few months ago. I know me and Alexa have a couple that just decided it was too much for them. They were offering close to 100 grand over, and we're still losing. And so Brian, thank you so much for that nugget. But we reached out to them just the other day. And so now we have some really valuable information to share with them. And so you just have to get back in and look at what your pipeline used to look like, or who's still in there that is just, on hold for now, and reach out to them. The other thing that I was going to say is specifically Sphere and social media related. And on Facebook, I have a group called Allie's VICs, which is my very important clients. But it also has a lot of my Sphere in it. And I'm constantly providing market updates, fun information, but in hopes that they're going to be able to share that I am knowledgeable about the market, regardless of if it's shifting, when it's shifting, I still know what's going on. They're going to share with their friends and family. Allie knows what she's doing. Allie took care of us when it was like this. She's going to take care of it when, take care of you when it's like this. So I just think that continuing to put information out there, if that's how you get your business, that has really helped me. I just had someone reach out yesterday because of a post that I put in there. It's worth the time and the energy to do that. And the truth is, because we're on such an amazing team and we have calls like this, we are knowledgeable, and you just have to be confident about that. And if you don't know the right words to use in a post, or you don't know the right words to say to reach out to past buyers, I think it's always worth asking. And I'm always happy to have those conversations because it helps me too. So
I love that. So Allie's VICs, this is a Facebook group. How long ago did you start it?
So honestly, just a few weeks ago, and it's been the greatest thing ever. Yeah.
How many people are in it right now?
I have 28 people in it right now.
28 people. So you get to have this conversation with 28 people at a time, which is called scaling. And was it awkward to ask them to join this group, or how did you position it?
It wasn't awkward. It's building. It's mostly my past clients, and I was not friends with some of them prior to the group, but it opened up another conversation with them. And that's why I'm having a conversation with one of them today. He wants to take some cash out, and he wants to go buy an investment property. And so, but I'm so glad that I reached out. I said, hey, I'm starting this group. I've got some, information that I just want to share with you guys, so you guys can have some behind the scenes information. Also, of course, our team does fun events and giveaways, and I want to be able to make sure you guys stay in the loop on that. And so I'm starting this little group. So hopefully you join it. And no one's like, no, they can ignore it if they don't want to see it, but most of them, they like it. So yeah.
I love that. There's always stories in our head, and the reality is 90% of it is not even true.
Not true. Yeah.
Right on. Bart or Brian Miller? Anything on buyers?
I'll go. I don't spend a ton of time on this side of it, but I'm fairly blunt about it. We're in the middle of a buyer consult and they bring up, well, what's your opinion of rates? I'm like, yeah, they finally got back to normal. We've had damn near free money for so long that they have finally adjusted back to a normal number. And then I just go right back into whatever it is I was talking about. I mean, I hit it pretty quickly, pretty bluntly, and I believe it. I mean, it's not like I'm just saying it to say it. I believe it. They are finally back to a normal number. What's the motivation to buy? Is this going to stop us? And if they really get bogged down, we have so many stories of people holding off to buy because they were going to wait until it got better, and they just shot themselves in the foot. I had a guy in 2012 when we were breaking records in 2012, and so they were like, "Oh, this is out of hand." That guy bought in 2015 for a way higher number than he did in 2012. We have somebody recently that they sold to hit the peak in the market, rented for a year because they were going to beat the market. Well, now they're buying at a higher number than they were then. I mean, there's so many stories to people trying to predict the timing and shooting themselves in the foot. So I'm honestly pretty blunt about it. I don't sugarcoat a whole lot of it. We can talk about it and then we're going to move on with our lives.
I love that. They finally got to a normal number. They were giving money away before this. Truth. Brian Miller, anything on buyers?
I mean, everybody else sounds quite a bit smarter than me, but I kind of agree with Bart. I'm pretty blunt with things like that, and I don't work with buyers a lot. The times that I have worked with buyers, y'all know that I like to door knock. I just go find them a house, and it's worked twice and almost a third time, but the buyers had decided to give up 2 weeks earlier. They had a baby due, and I mean, I literally found them a house at the top of their budget with everything they wanted and more. and even told the sellers about them. They weren't gonna have to bid, no bidding war, no nothing, just come in at this price and it's yours. And now, I guess the thing about now is because homes are sitting on the market a lot longer, now I tell people, get in on day one, get in on day two, and get your offer in, because there's no other offers. These houses are sitting for 20 days instead of 3. Get an offer in on day 3. You got a pretty good shot at it. So
Yeah, what a gift. You've got a great shot now. As a buyer, you've got a great shot, right?
Exactly.
Switching gears, Brian, what would you say, what would be your advice? Whether it's around mindset or whether it's around business, what advice would you give everyone?
Well, I would say now is actually a great opportunity to get a lot of market share. And I know that sounds counterproductive or counterintuitive because the market's going down, but I read a long time ago, I think Zig Ziglar wrote about this, about an insurance salesman who during a recession tripled his business, and they asked him how he did it. And he said, well, yeah, there's a recession. That means about 10 to 15% fewer people are buying. But every agent out there thinks it's a recession, and they're at the bar crying to each other that there's no work. And I'm out there still working. I'm taking all their clients. So if you do the work, yeah, there's fewer houses being sold. There's fewer people moving around, but there's, especially here in Texas, people are still moving here. And most of them do not want to rent. Most of them have $1 million sitting there, and they want a $500,000 house or whatever. So yeah, there's still buyers, there's still sellers. It's just, you got to work harder to find them, and other agents will probably give up. This is the time, Jaime, which I don't think Jaime's on the call today, but Jaime said, now is the time when agents get out of this business and go back to work in the real world. So just get out and hustle.
I love that.
So
This is the kind of market that work ethic prevails, guys. This is the kind of market that work ethic prevails. Right
I'll
on.
follow up Brian on this one. I got a number of things. The simple things are 2 books, The One Thing Shift. We all have most likely heard them. I would read those 2, even if you've read them before. Double down on lead gen, figure out what's really important in your business, and really, really nail down and zero in on what is important in your business to where you're not wasting time. Get focused on, listen, the next 2 to 3 months may be hard. Get focused on, Allie talked about hard work earlier. Get to where you're going to live a boring life for a couple months and really, really nail down and work. And also, one thing I've implemented, I don't know, about a year ago or so, and have become a big believer in, is get you a morning routine that just sets your day right, whatever it is, whether it's working out, reading, listening to music, meditating, sitting on your patio, whatever it is. Don't wake up and instantly go to email or instantly go to TikTok, or don't wake up at the last minute to where you have to chaotically get your kids ready for whatever it is. Get you a morning routine. I can't tell you how much I enjoy my entire day and how much more productive I am because I put a morning routine in that just gets me on the right start. It's amazing how much of a change that really does.
I really love that. And I would say, I'd love it if this was just the next 2 to 3 months. I think, unfortunately, inflation will be until the end of 2024. So get you a morning routine, abso-freaking-lutely, because this isn't short term, right? Maybe the shock of it for our clients will be short term, but the grind of the market for the next couple of years, it's a real thing. Make your life easier by having routines that work for you instead of against you, right? I love that. Who's next?
I'll go.
I'll go. Oh,
Who wants it? Who wants it more?
I'll go.
Oh, all right. Woo, we got a winner.
So I feel like, this is my second year, and I feel when I joined, I was spoiled. We had interest rates at lowest 2.50, so I think my biggest nugget to give is to just be consistent. Use the models that we have, use the leverage that we have. We are part of a team that keeps us informed, that keeps us so knowledgeable, that our confidence should be there to provide that to all of our clients. And so if we stay consistent and again, follow those models, then I feel that we can still be successful. We can be those top agents that while the rest of the agents that are not part of Place, you know, decide that there's a crash or that the market is going down and it's time to go back out to the real world and work other places, we can take over that and do that because we have that leverage, we have those models. So I think just consistency, and I mean, this is where we put in our work. You know, we were spoiled for a little bit.
And there's nothing wrong with being spoiled. We spoil our kids,
Nothing wrong
right?
with it.
Like
You take
it's
advantage
part
of
of
it.
it's nice, and boy, did we take advantage. I mean, we did great during the last high shift. Now we're going to like a slow down shift, right? I love that. Embrace all the tools and all of the leverage that we have within the Place world. If it gets hard, it doesn't have to feel hard. It can feel a lot easier than it does for most people. Love that. Thanks, Kayla. Whose voice did I hear? Anybody?
I'll go.
Daniel, I knew it.
So with everything happening, and a lot of realtors are just going to be going through hysteria, right? With the recession looming and everything. One of my favorite mindsets, actually, that kind of keeps me going is, honestly, there's a certain amount of grocery stores that will stay open because people got to buy groceries. There are a certain amount of clothing stores that will stay open because people need to buy clothing. And there's a certain amount of realtors that will remain in business to help people find shelter or to sell their homes. So I'm going to be one of them. And I remind myself that every day. And it really it kills the hysteria, right? Because it's like, it's a necessity, right? Like someone's going to do it, right? Either you're going to be the one that shuts down shop, or you're going to be able to provide a necessity. It kind of helps us. It's actually really helpful that it is a necessity, right? If we were trying to sell like cool gadgets, right, it'd be probably a little more difficult to try to stay in the market with the recession. But at the end of the day, everyone's buying and everyone's selling. And if you just kind of like zone in and realize, no, like the opportunity is out there. There is so much opportunity. Am I going to be drama mama, or am I going to just, if I need to work harder to get the results I need? But it's that consistency. You will outrun everyone in the race.
I love that. We provide a necessity, man, y'all. We are that place for that. Oh, that's really good. No drama mamas here for sure. We are all hardworking mamas and daddies, and humans. I don't know if you guys all got kids and stuff. Brian or Elizabeth or Allie?
I'll go. So I recently got to be a part of a really cool forum which helped my mindset. And so something that I realized is that we are all a lot more alike than we are different. And so obviously we're talking about this because this is what's going on in our jobs and our career. And we can want to have a mindset, but the reality is that we're going to have this racket of what's going on in the market at the back of our brain all the time. And so we have to be aware that that's going to happen. It's not something that you can make go away, just like it's not something that you can make it go away that, oh, I should be working out or whatever it is. It's going to be there because we're consistently talking about it. We're going to continue to talk about this for the rest of the year. But remember, that's all that it is. It's just going on back here in the back of your head, but there is a reality. So you have to separate these thoughts from what the facts are. And the facts are, we have the tools that we need to do the job that we need to do, to make the money that we need to make. And so if you can be in tune with your thoughts and remember that these things are going to happen, and then hold true to the facts and that you are good at your job, then you can push through pretty much anything. So I hope that's really been helping me.
I really love that. Separate, like write that down, everyone. Separate your thoughts from the facts, whether it's your business or like, shoot, I just thought, I should have been thinking about business, but I thought, oh my God, yeah, I should think about that working out. Like my thought is I hate working out. That is my real deal thought. I've never liked it. Don't like it today. But the fact is working out will give me more energy. I will be toned. Like I know how to do it, right? Separate your thoughts from the facts. That is a superpower that you can tap into.
Yeah. Even when you're talking to your buyers or sellers, you're going to have that same thing happening in your mind. You're going to be thinking about this conversation maybe that we had today, or you're going to be thinking about how nervous you might feel to convince somebody to sell their home. But remember what the facts, like those are all stories that you tell yourself. And this is not any cool information I came up with. I learned this in this forum, but this is just a story around what the fact is. And so stay true to those facts and then your stress levels will go down and things will be a bit easier, because this is just one little moment in time, and we're going to have a bunch of other moments, and good ones, bad ones. Yeah. So
All of it. I love that. Stay true to the facts. Love that. All right. Brian, Elizabeth?
I'll go. So for me, this is something that I've literally been dealing with this week and last week. So as some of y'all know, I'm doing Chris Suarez experiential MBA, which has been very cool so far. But one of the exercises we did was to see like what motivates us. And I am one of those people that I'm motivated if something is chasing me, and I'm motivating if I'm chasing something almost 50-50. So some people are all carrot, right? They're only motivated by good things, and some people are all stick. They're only going to be motivated if people are hitting them. I'm right in the middle. So if I'm like, chilling, I kind of lose motivation. So that's where I am. I'm not saying that's where I am now. The shift just became that pain point, right? That just became that stick that's making me move forward. But find what motivates you. And because I'm also in the middle, I do need to have like a goal to reach. And I don't have kids, I already own my houses. Like I have my dogs that I love. I travel like once a month. Like I'm pretty good. So I was like, what else can motivate me? And saving money, even though it should motivate me, does not. It just doesn't. So what I did was I pre-ordered a Tesla. Do I have the money to buy a Tesla? No, I do not. But that Tesla earliest delivery date was April 2023. So I was like, all right, I got a year to figure out how to pay for it. Otherwise I lose like my deposit on it. Like that's what I'm going to do. I have no way to pay for it right now. But for me, that's what motivates me, like a goal. So if you don't have that, like, or if you don't want to, risk $900 pre-ordering a Tesla, find something else that motivates you. But like, yeah, maybe buy those plane tickets and you're like, if I can't buy the hotel by that date, I lose that money. Find something that motivates you. That's just what motivates me. So that's my biggest suggestion.
I love that. I love that. You would think that that's not prevalent. That actually, I hear that a lot in my coaching sessions, by the way, because you start knocking things off a list, and then is there something else that you really are passionate about knocking off? I don't know. Sometimes there is, but sometimes there isn't. So when there isn't, I like that. Fabricate something that motivates you, that has the power to motivate you. I like that. Good job. Thanks for that share. Brian, you want to wrap us?
Sure. Really do like that motivation. I think not only from a self-motivation standpoint, but I think more than in the last couple of years, I think we're really going to have to motivate our clients, whether it be selling or buying. And I think part of that is going to be using tools, maybe researching some new tools for our buyers. Like there's a lot of things that nobody's had to use because interest rates are 2.75. You can do interest only loans. We can do ARMs. We could do even 40-year loans. I was talking to a lender on a 40-year loan. So there's a lot of tools that we can use. And I go back to thinking about this quote that I heard not too long ago. It was by Gandhi, and it said, live like you're going to die tomorrow and learn like you're going to live forever. And so that kind of stuck on me. And I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good quote, because anybody that knows me knows that I live like I'm going to die tomorrow. So it's the learning part, and it's the, getting the tools that we can use for our clients, kind of put them in our little toolkit and, move forward from there. So. I
love that. And it reminds me that the folks on this call, and because I hate to say this, there will be winners and losers, right? Because that's life, guys. I mean, and when I say winners and losers, what I mean is there will be people who will not adjust, right? But the world has adjusted, right? I mean, that's just reality. That's not even an opinion at this point. It is back to what Ali said. Those are facts, right? We're going to stay true to the facts. The market has changed. Now, are you a student of life? Or like sometimes this last market made us all heroes, right? And so your superpower will be, are you a student? Because this is like, I'm coming back in and like, I'm doing a ton of research. I'm doing a ton of work, right? And I've already gone through a shift, right? Did really well in the shift. However, like this is a different shift. I don't have my team, myself, my family does not have the luxury of me just being like, oh, I already got this. Or I had a great market. No. We are all students, and there will be new tools that we need to learn. I love that. Brandon, you want to wrap us up? I see your hand.
Yeah, and sorry, I had slippery fingers earlier. I couldn't give a shout out to Matt. He's our operations coordinator. He's killing it. So I wanted to give him a shout out. But a shout out to this panel, man. It was really, really, really good. Something we've been talking about in San Antonio, we started seeing a shift about 40 days ago. And what we've been talking about is a lot of what everyone's been talking about, but you just mentioned something that I wanted to piggyback on. We were pretty spoiled with the market. Obviously, in our model, we have all the tools and everything we could need to succeed regardless of what's going on. But our bad habits, and I say this from me looking in the mirror, they're about to be exposed, right? Like when we don't have as much spoil, everything doesn't fly off the market and all that stuff. Your bad habits in a market like this are going to get exposed. But the upside and silver lining is, and the reason we're all here together, is that the upside and our model and our systems and the grit and everything we've been training for the last however long you've been in real estate, and especially in this partnership, it's really going to give us the opportunity to take everything that we want. And that's more clients, more life integration, and bigger goals. And so we're going to get exposed. So take a look at those habits, those things that we've been wanting to work on for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and the market's kind of carried us through that, right? But if we do that and we stay the course, we're going to have a bigger opportunity than we had previously to take everything that we want and need for our family. So big ups to everyone who did this panel. It was awesome.
I love that. Perfect place to end. Everyone on this call can win. Not a doubt in any of our minds, right? Because some people have been here, 7 years. Some people have been here 2 years, 1 year, right? And all these are top agents. Everybody that you see on this panel, right? This is the place to win. And these are the kind of people that want you to win, and they're willing to share what they know and what they're experiencing. Guys, thank you so much to our 7 panelists. Texas, you guys are awesome. We'll see you again next week. Have a good rest of your weekend. Go out there and win. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
This is awesome.